Estrada. I am 20 years old. I will be 21 soon, so I'm super excited.
Yes.
And what I'm excited today, I'm gonna be babysitting a little girl today. So she's gonna be like, her mom's gonna drive her down, and we're gonna spend like 5 hours together.
Oh,
And I'm just super excited. I just love kids.
me
I know they're
too.
just so adorable, and she's so tiny. She's like about this tall, like I
Stop.
think a year and a half or something.
I
Yeah.
literally would cry. Like,
She's a little girl, and she's like crazy.
yeah.
She's crazy. I literally babysitted this whole summer, so I got a chance to hold like a 6-month-old, and I was like,
I would cry. Like, I would absolutely lose it. That is plenty to be excited about. I would be very excited about that. Okay, cool. So we're gonna jump in with 2 to 3 softball questions, very low stakes. But yeah. So, what is your favorite activity to do right now outside of school or work?
So I don't work.
Okay.
I don't have a job. My whole job is the babysitting thing,
Yeah.
which I enjoy so much. But I like to journal a lot, and I love to read. I've been reading a lot of like Start With Why, like trying to figure out like why you do the things that you do, right? And it was so interesting because I was like, I cannot look at Apple the same way now. literally.
Yeah.
And we could talk about this all like,
No, totally.
yeah, we could talk about it.
Awesome. Okay. What qualities of yourself are you most proud of? Pick 3.
Oh, jeez.
I feel like I was always scared of that question. I'm like, guys, you can do it. Like,
I have to ask my best friend sometimes. I'm like, what's some qualities that I have, you know?
Totally.
I think that communication is like top priority because a lot of things could be misinterpreted and misunderstood, and I feel like having a good communication like skill is like
so true.
It's needed.
Yeah.
It's definitely needed in relationships and friendships.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, communication, I feel like is a skill that is super valuable, but also like so underrated, and like not even like underrated, but people just like do not think to like cultivate it as a skill. But I'm like, when it comes to the workplace, when it comes to school, when it comes to friendships and personal relationships, like communication breakdowns are like the number one cause of conflict and issues. So like maybe we should work on that.
And it can be so uncomfortable,
genuinely.
But you know, it's needed.
It's needed.
It's needed.
So
you gotta step outside your comfort zone to grow.
So true. So we have communication.
2
more.
I think, oh God, I don't know if this would count as a quality, but she told me one time, she's like, she saw me talking to this one person who I don't even like know in a like a very personal level.
Yeah.
But I would like talk to them like if I knew them forever, and she like would come to me and she'd be like, Brenda, like, do you know him? And I was like, oh no, I don't know. I just met him right now. And she's like, you have like this knack of like just talking to someone and making it seem like you've known them, and you just you're like on that part. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, thank you. So I've heard that a lot from her and another friend of mine too. Like, oh yeah, you just like kind of just go out of your way to talk to like strangers, and it's just so easy for me.
So true.
Yeah,
you're a people person. Based in connection. I feel like I'm the same person, so like I completely am on. I'm completely on your wavelength. Okay, you owe me one more.
Okay.
You're fighting through it. I believe in you. I feel like I mean, also there's just different attributes that people find good. So this is not me saying any are better than others, but
I totally understand.
People who are great at active listening, people who are great leaders, people who...
I wish I would. Okay, I need to put myself in positions of leadership.
Yeah.
I feel... Because there was this one project that we did for a final, and it was like North Korea versus South Korea. And like... we were all, it was like a team of 6 or 7 people, right? And they're like, oh yeah, so who's going to be like leader, you know, team leader? And I was like, oh, I would totally be so good at this. But then I was like, no, I can't, no, you know? And towards the end, like I ended up collaborating more with the team leader and helping us, you know, kind of resolve our conflicts. And I thought to myself, like, I could have totally like done that on my own. Yeah, so I need to put myself in. But that's like not a good quality.
Listen, but
that's an improvement.
That's
like,
okay. You see, you are willing to improve. You are willing to like look back on your experience and be like, you know what, next time I got it, and that's okay. I feel like I'll name a quality that I see in you. Like, I feel like you have like a very like creative and innovative spirit. Like, besides being like, besides being like a people person, like I do think that like when it comes to being able to relate to strangers and their experience, like you do have to be very like open-minded and receptive to hearing other people's
So I'm very
stories.
empathetic.
Exactly.
I guess you can say that's another.
There
that's
we go.
Another quality.
We got
I'm
number
very
3.
empathetic.
You're very empathetic, and I can see that about you. So thank you for humoring me. And I feel like I have now gotten to know you just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But now we'll move to our actual getting to know you section.
Jeez. Okay.
And
Just
I'm
warm
gonna.
up.
That was your warm up. I hope you feel warm.
I do.
Good. Okay.
A little cold in my fingers, but it's okay.
Okay. So our first question: what is an accomplishment, personal project, or extracurricular activity you are proud of working on?
Okay, so there's a project that I'm thinking about working on, but I don't think that I can necessarily start it because of the school year. So I want to like really like my goal this year is to finish doing my my applications for my MFA because I want to get into dance. I'm a business econ student, but I want to dance, right?
Yeah.
I just want to dance. There's like no reason behind it. There's no motivation.
And that's all that
like I just want to dance.
Yeah.
Just put in like all my effort into dancing this year. So taking a whole bunch of dance classes, like doing videos, reels, like getting up all like my portfolios and stuff and sending out applications. That's like my goal. So I don't think I can start this project of mine. And funny enough, the project that I do want to start is called People, like the People Project.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I think that there's a lot of like things that we all have in common. It's just our circumstances that are different that leads us to make different decisions.
So true.
You know, but like we all feel the same things. We all feel hatred. We all are afraid of chasing our dreams, or we're all afraid that we're not enough. Like there's all these things, and I want to kind of do like short films, kind of. Kind of emphasizing that, like stories of people that are willing to share, you know, they're comfortable sharing, and I'm like, hey, can I, you know, do like a little short film about it and kind of express, you know, express what you're feeling, because everyone is gonna relate to it in some way, you know,
for sure.
But I can't start that yet because I'm like, it's gonna be so much work, and I just don't have the time. You know,
I feel like even if you haven't started, first of all, that's still something to be proud of, like, because like that kind of stuff takes the certain skills that only apply to you. Like we've talked about, like it does take a very empathetic person to make that kind of content and get people to open up and share their stories with you. I will say I love that kind of content. Like I love when people put in the work of drawing that common thread between all of us. Like we all as individuals like lead very separate lives, but when you see people out on the street, like you have common things in common with them. Like you share different aspects of life, and I think like it's really beautiful to see how we're all connected. So I don't know, like I'm really invested in stuff like that, and I also think that like I said, it just takes a very particular person to pull that off, and I think that I'm excited to see where you go with that.
I am super excited too. I'm thinking about like taking a gap year and then going back into it, but that gap year would be for that.
For sure.
To kind of just work on that and also work and kind of find myself. Because even though I know what to do, I still feel like a part of myself is like, well, what is it that you really want to do? You know, because I'm a very artistic person, but I also want to be more logical and more reasonable. Like, you know, thinking about as a business econ student, like, you know, I want to be involved more in business. Like, what can I do, like leadership positions, etc., or operations and stuff, and that just like doesn't call out my name. It like, you know, it tingles my mind a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, like this is like very interesting, which is why I couldn't do dance as a major, because I was like, I cannot do my passion as a major. Like there's just no way. It's too much. But yeah, I definitely want to do that. Like I see myself walking down the street and I'm like, wow, like people are laughing and people are like, you know, hugging, people are getting married like right there, and I'm like, wow, you know. And it's like that could be me, and that is me, or like and just it's so beautiful.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll move to our next question. What does education mean to you?
Oh god, I've always been about education. I think growing up, like school. I wanted to get good grades, and then like in 7th grade in like middle school, I found out about sports because I didn't even know they existed, honestly, in all like reality.
So true.
Because I come from like a lower income kind of household, Mexican, and we're not really into like the whole internet, so we didn't know about these stuff. We kind of just went through the flow, and as we grew up and as we got more exposed, we kind of started saying, okay, we can use all these resources. But yeah, in middle school I started getting into sports, but like education was like my top priority. And I think it was really ingrained because it's coming from an immigrant family, it's like you need to get a higher education, and if you have a higher education, then you can get a good job and you can break that cycle of,
So true.
not poverty, but some like,
Yeah.
wanting to do the things that you want and not worry about money.
Mm-hmm.
So I only focused on that. I got really decent grades, did a whole bunch of sports, but I think that the effect of me really wanting to do it, like having that as my priority, kind of made me not realize that me being so goal driven and education driven, that I was missing out on like my family. Like I had a talk with my brother the other day. By the other day, I mean like a year or two ago. But he kind of was just, I sat down with him and I was like, I mean, what do you want to do? And he's like, oh, I want to do this and this and that. And I was like, huh. And then I think the topic came up where he told me, he's like, you were never there, Brenda. Like, you were never there. Like, you were always like so involved in sports. You wanted to do your thing. You always got what you wanted. And I'm over here like, I wanted to do something, but I couldn't because we have younger brothers. We have younger siblings. And he would take care of them. And then I just sat there and I was like, ain't no way. Like, I do see it and I agree it. And I know that I did it. But it's like, I was so focused on like getting up there that I kind of missed out on like growing up with like my siblings and stuff. So in some way, whenever I go back home, it's like my brother, he's 19.
Mm-hmm.
He is literally like the person of the house. Like he's always there and stuff. And it just makes me feel a little angsty, just a little bit, because I'm not there. But I also am doing all this because I want to give them something better. So it's like a little off and off.
Totally.
And then I got into college, and then I was like, education is okay.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't really need it. You honestly don't. A lot of people do it because it's like their only thing.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got into college, I was like, oh, there's totally other things that you can do.
Yeah.
A lot of connections that you can make, a lot of networking, and those can get you somewhere without actually having to go through.
Yeah. You can make a life outside of higher education. Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
So true. So true. What's a topic, subject, or skill that you think should be taught in schools? And this doesn't have to be like, a classical subject like math or English, but just, what's something that you think should be taught in schools?
I think everyone thinks financial literacy should be taught in school. I mean, there's some courses, right, like at UCSD that kind of give you the basis of it, but I think that starting off like from a very young age, how to handle your money and how to like, make sure that you're spending it in like a right way is very much needed.
Exactly. So true.
That's like the top that
Yeah, I would have to agree. And I feel like in conducting these interviews, a lot of people have this a similar answer. I think that honestly, and it's like, because you're a business econ major, I'm sure that you've learned a lot about finances at college and whatnot. Really?
A little bit. I mean, I'm more involved in the dance department than I am in business. But even like the classes that I did take, I think I'm going to retrace. So I moved out here to San Diego at 17. And I think money wasn't an issue because I was living on campus. But as soon as like junior year came and I was like, I have to live off campus. I was like really focused on how am I going to make money, but also like spend it in an adequate way, because I had to be like do a lot of spending, right? Like the rent and like groceries and like whatever, like the necessities and stuff. And I don't think I actually knew how to handle my money until that
so true,
that experience came around. But that's it sucks.
No, totally financial literacy is needed. Like we're on the same page.
I know.
Okay, cool. Tell me about someone who has left an impact on you and why.
I mean, in all reality, I think that people just come and go. And I hate seeing it that way sometimes, but it's true. Like you meet someone, you think that, oh my God, they have like totally shifted the way that I think and made an impact on me. And then they kind of just move on with their lives, and then you never speak to them again. I think that's very like, I think beautiful and like special in its own way. It has like this thing to it, right? Where it's like, I met you, I learned from you, And I'm grateful that you like taught me this little thing. One thing that I really wanted to do when growing up, and I still want to do it, I even look at Peace Corps sometimes because I'm like, I kind of just want to go out and like help people. And one of the reasons why I started the People Project, because I want to help people, but I just don't know in what way. You know, I'm pretty broke. I don't know what I'm doing, and that's something I want to do. And maybe dancing might be the way too. Yeah. But who knows, right? Yeah. So a social issue for me is like poverty, or like in areas where they're not really getting the help that they need. Yeah. Because I feel so much. I see someone like literally, I don't know, it could be like a grandpa or something, like just sitting by themselves, and I'd be like, you know, I'd get all sad because I'm like, it makes me feel sad that we're not doing more than we should. You know, true. We all know about this. Like, we're all very well and very attentive to it, the things that are happening, but like, we don't do anything about it. Yeah. Or we try to, but it doesn't go well. So a thing that kind of inspired that is, since I am Mexican, and I was born in Mexico, I want to start, I think it's a for-profit organization to help high schoolers get a higher education. Wow. Because a lot of people, or students, I should say, in Mexico, like, they stop, you know, after they graduate high school because they just can't afford it, or they can't do anything about it, right? And I would say that I knew about this through my cousin who lives in Mexico, and she wanted to become a doctor or something, but she never went to school for it. You know, like, she had graduated and like, that's it, like, just graduated high school and that's it. So I want to help that. I want to start that in some way down the line, of course. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a great goal to have. And I think recognizing needs within your own community and like people that you're close to is a great way to like motivate you for change. So don't even worry. You're doing the best that you can. What advice would you give to someone who wants to make a positive impact on their community? On their community? Mm-hmm. Oh my. Just be open. Yeah. Just be yourself. I think that people really underestimate? Yeah. People really underestimate the power of like you being you. Yeah. And I will give you an example. So I go to the gym, right? But when I went back in Riverside, I was going to the gym, and there was this old man, and I would always come in and I'd be like, so pumped, you know, I'm listening to music and I'm jamming out to it. A lot of people, like, they, you know, get in their zone, but my zone is like dancing while I'm working out. You know. So I think his name was Michael, and he just told me, he's like, why is it that every time you come in the room, like the room just lights up, you know? Aww. And I'm like, the sweetest thing that anyone has ever said. And I had a lot of people come up to me, like, it could be the gym community, it could be like the dance community, it could be like any community, right? But I had people come up to me at the gym saying like, oh my god, like, I just love your vibe, like, you're just like vibing to it, or like, what are you listening to? And I'd be like, I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry. You know? And sure. I think that, yeah, it's very underestimated. Just be yourself. Be yourself, for sure. Like, I think there's so much value in entering a room and being authentic. And yes. I feel like people gravitate towards, like, realness and, like, good energy, which, like, I obviously get from you. So I think that's great advice. Yeah, like, and that literally spreads. Exactly. It spreads. Like, if you are in, like, a community and you're all positive and stuff, like, people around you are going to feel positive, too. Very true. It's very contagious. True. Exactly. I love that positivity is contagious. Keep spreading it. Okay. What is a challenge you've had to work through, and how has it shaped you? This is a more personal kind of challenge. And that's okay. Yeah, and I'm going to share it because I feel like I've had enough of not sharing. I grew up not sharing because I was just so afraid, but let's just do it. So my parents, like, they grew up in a certain way, like all parents do, right? They're from like the 80s, or 80s. They're from the 80s, and they grew up a certain way, and they, you know, and they parented a certain way. So while I was growing up, I had resentment towards the way that they decided to raise me. Mm-hmm. And it was just kind of affecting me a little bit in like my artistic stuff, because I was a visual arts major at some point. Yeah. And I was just having such a hard time, like, figuring out, like, that artistic side of me. Like, what is it that I want to do? Photography, same thing. I didn't know why I was doing the things that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know why I drew these things. I didn't know why I photographed these things. And I felt like that kind of wasn't, you know, a reason for my parents. Like, I thought that was a reason, because it was just an emotional blockage of like things that went unresolved and untalked about. So I wasn't comfortable enough talking to my parents about things that happened in school. So I felt like I would always, you know, go through these challenges by myself. I felt like I wasn't really supported in that. And at some point, like, the person that impacted my life kind of told me, like, why don't you just get over it? Like, why don't you just, you know, talk about this thing that has been bothering you for such a long time so you can grow as a person. And I did do it. I sent out a message to my mom, and I was like, hey, I think that, you know, you could have parented me a little bit differently. But I'm not blaming you for the way that you raised me, or the way that you chose to raise me, because you were a single mom at the time, and you know, were a parent at a very young age, so you did whatever was possible. The fact that she wasn't there all the time was because she was working 2 jobs, you know, and it kind of, you know, growing up, it's like, you don't really understand until you understand, until maybe you've had children, right? So I sent out that message to her, and I was like, whole paragraph, and she, in Spanish, it's a lot different. Like, it hurts a lot more. So I'm typing, I'm like, you know, I'm all emotional, like, and I talk with my best friend, like, I'm doing it, and she's like, that's so great of you, like, and because she's actually heard me talk about this a lot, and she's heard me talk about the fact that I wanted to do it so many times, and I never had the courage to do it. So I gathered all my freaking willpower, and I was like, all right, did it, and now we're on a better note. But it's because I took, you know, the chance to really, like, it was frightening. So frightening. And I was like, I don't know how she's gonna take it. I don't know if she's gonna understand. But yeah, I'm here now, and I mean, my relationship with my parents have grown like a lot better. Like, we're a lot closer as I get older, obviously.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm happy about how things turned out.
Yes, I'm very glad to hear that. What advice would you give to someone facing a similar challenge?
I mean, I think it takes a lot to accept the fact that you need to confront this. I think the advice I would give is just do it. I know it sounds very, like, vague.
No.
But it just do it. Like, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna break you, it's gonna, like, you're gonna have so many emotions all at once, and it might not feel like the right decision, but, like, nothing is gonna feel like the right decision if you don't, like, you know, do it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just do it. I'm honestly known, my best friend would say, she'd be like, Brenda, like, I just love you because you just do things that you want to do. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, like, people judge, that's fine, but, like, why should that affect you? Or, like, people don't do this, but why should you not do that too? You know, like, so yeah, just kind of gather that, write your thoughts out, you know, maybe journal. I think journaling helps a tremendous amount. And then finally be like, all right, I'm gonna do it. Yeah,
I think that's great advice. What do you think is something about you that will get left out of standard applications? So, like, you know, for grad school or, like, jobs or whatever, like, what is something that you wish you could share, that you wish you could be asked?
I think the thing that I wish I could share, and I think this applies more, like, job wise, because even if I do apply to internships, like, I have nothing on my resume. Like, literally nothing.
It's okay.
Maybe, like, working as a cashier or something, but, like, it's not enough experience for me. And because I'm also undocumented, so I don't have all the opportunities and, you know, gates that could be opened, you know. So I always have to find alternatives. And sometimes alternatives don't work out for the best, but I still do it. So I wish that me applying to, like, a certain company or any kind of opportunity, they knew the kind of person that I was. I am resilient, I am a hard worker, and you can't really put that on an application.
Exactly.
Right? And they're so nitpicky about like the kind of people that they want to like, you know, work with them. And that
Yeah.
I totally understand. You know, you have to have the brains and you have to know what you're doing to do your job correctly. But you have to give people chances too. You can't just like expect them to have all these experiences and stuff because there's other kinds of like, you know.
Yeah.
I wish people just knew the kind of person that they are bringing in, or the kind of person that they're interviewing, or you know,
like you wish you had an opportunity to showcase your personality and your strengths,
not based on a resume,
not based on your resume, not based on a piece of paper, not based on a GPA, etc. Yeah, I completely am here with you. That's like kind of why we do like this interview situation, because we don't want people to be defined by numbers or like opportunities that they have or haven't had in life. Like, this is about who you are as a person and like how you carry yourself. And I think we would all be better if the workforce was defined that way.
If 100%,
if opportunities were offered that way. So yeah, I totally am with you on that.
100%.
Yeah.
Hey YouTube, if you enjoyed this person's story, don't forget to subscribe below to hear more from our inspiring youth. If you want to apply for our Storyteller Scholarship or get more involved in our organization, click the link below to apply. Thanks for watching!